education or technology in education. Let me get back to Zoom on my phone so that I'm able to see what's going on. Yeah. So technology in education, I will cover two things. Here, I wish I had more teachers so that I well cover the few tips I have on this particular platform. Technology in education has been, or technology has been used in education for quite some time now. Our technology as we know it, because every teaching has its own technology. Even the 1900s, they say that if a teacher got up from 1900, the only thing they would recognize today is a classroom. A teacher who died in 1900, because the classroom is the only thing that hasn't changed. But for sure, it has changed. Only that rigidity has befallen some of our leaders, and probably they may not be as forthcoming. They probably may be thinking they are you know, I've seen that the majority of people who sit in high offices are quite aged, and they think that the use of technology will phase them out, and they kind of fear for their jobs. Well, it's inevitable. With things like Corona, it's inevitable that some of these things will force change. And sometimes the change will not be as easy. I've gone to schools where I said that technology is the thing that will drive how you teach. And for that reason, I was told, well, we'll call you when we need you. And the moment you hear someone say that they will call you when they need you, you just know they're just telling you bye in a short, polite way. So wewe ni wewe ujipe shughuli, ujipange na ujipe shughuli, get out of that place. But inevitably, there has been stuff that has grown, obviously. We have dealt with things like Google Classroom and Teams, and those are just two of the platforms that are offered by Google and Microsoft. But there are also other platforms. Right now, I hear most schools that are teaching online are excluding to teach mathematics and physics for the reason they do not know how to teach mathematics and physics without a blackboard. Well, it is very easy if they had something we call a digitizing tablet. If they had a digitizing tablet, then it means they can do the math and collaborate with other students as well. The student can actually annotate, just like you can also see on your screen. There's a small pen to the left, to the bottom left. If you tap on your screen, you can see a small pen, and you could tap on it, and you could draw something on the screen, and everyone will be seeing that. Like now, I'm using the red part. I've just done that with my pen, with my phone, and you guys could do that. Let me clear all drawings here so that I am also clear from the PC so that we can have. So can you see that? Can you see you can clear all drawings? I've cleared all drawings. So if someone taps on their screen, they can annotate and probably ask, like, what do you mean by this particular section here? And it's something that I want you guys to try. Just tap on your screen and tap on the pen, choose a color somewhere, and draw on the screen. Yeah, I've seen GP. Yeah, good. S. Yes. That's nice. Wow, that's good. So you see, you can do that. So I'll clear these drawings from my side. Yes. So most teachers, even those who are teaching with Zoom, may not know that is possible. And because they don't know whether that is possible or not, then they may find themselves having a problem. that they can draw on a screen and that the kids are seeing, and they can lock that particular facility. It's not it's not very difficult. Like right now, I am still seeing people who are annotating on the screen. So I don't know whether I have the rights to show annotations, names, disable annotations. So now I know no one can draw because no one now can see their pen. And Joroge was trying to write, but they are locked out. So it's as easy as that. Now none of you can have it. And teachers don't know how to do that. Not only teachers, even people. If you are teaching and I want to ask you a question and I can annotate, it is as easy as when the screen is up, I just circle down or circle the particular aspect I would like the teacher to elaborate further on. And it is possible for them to do that. Now, because some of them don't know that, they are a little technophobic, or they fear technology a little, so we excuse them and allow them to move at their own pace, hoping that they will not be too late. Now, I had promised some times back to bring up the issue of CPDs, or stuff we call continuous development, continuous professional development. And CPDs are an important field for functionality in any development of any field. Teachers have a law, or the education sector, especially in Kenya, has a law that states teachers have a right to get 2 hours a week for what we call CPD. I'm not sure about other companies, but other companies now this will be something they will need to do as an individual. I taught myself how to do a few things, even when I was working in a financial institution. Most of what I know after campus is completely or entirely self-taught. And there are 2 forms of it. There are CPDs that you will be charged or chargeable, that come with a chargeable service, or paid CPDs. On this, I am sharing on the MOOC, or what we call massive online open courses. I've activated the MOOC so that I am able. It is massive online open courses, MOOC, massive online open courses. These are courses that organizations like Harvard, MIT, and other big companies will offer, so that they can have people learn for free on a platform online. And I'll share links to that, and I will tell you how some of them work, like Coursera and EDX. I have been on and taken a few courses there, so I'll share how some of those things work. Then we also have this other service here, free to learn. And notice that the word free is quote in quote, because it is not free, because you'll pay a small fee. It is free to learn, basically, but you will have to pay the price of you determining that you will always be on that particular platform to learn. There are courses that actually took me a year to do or to take, not because I wouldn't have finished them in a few days or even weeks or even months, but because sometimes human laziness, sometimes you are not consistent on what you're following up. The feeling of not wanting to go and study will always creep in. So that is the price you have to pay. And because it is a price, that's why I wrote free. It is not as free as you think, because you have to pay that price to pay. But you are taught by the best teachers. The best. I know I took a course on learning how to learn on Coursera, sometimes back in 2015. And that course really taught me a lot. It made my mind broaden up. It made me know that it is possible for someone, part of what we consider learning is being able to know something you have learned is amiss or is not appropriate or very accurate, and you are now beginning to unlearn it, because your brain learns by some part of the brain just beneath your forehead that is called the prefrontal cortex, that the more you train it on what to learn, the more it captures, or the more it develops what we call neuropaths. And those neuropaths are what become clearer and clearer to that particular part. So then your brain remembers that quite often, and that is what is considered learning. Take this image. It rains and grass grows, and the path that people used to use is no longer used, so it disappears. But the moment people come and use that particular path again, or develop another route somewhere, they step on the grass until a path is formed. That is how the brain works. The more you use a certain route, or the more you use what we call neuropaths in your mind, those neuropaths become concrete, and you are able to remember or learn things or know things outrightly and forthrightly. And that is how now you are considered a person who is learned. The more you are able to unlearn or forget, or let's put it in the perspective of the grass, the more you don't use a certain path and grass grows back, the more that particular thing you have learned already disappears. Because they say what you don't use, you lose. If you came out of campus with knowledge you have never used, you are definitely going to lose it. There are things you keep in the house, after some time unaona hii hata situmiagi, eventually you will not see need for it. So when you're clearing yourself up or you're clearing your closet, you may want to dispose it. The other thing I would like us to know is that it is very important that you have a budget for education. It is very important for us to have a budget for human development. When I used to go out on some drinking spree, we had a budget. We had budgets for how much we want to go and spend. And I considered that something that a principle I would borrow. If you have a budget to do something, you will definitely want to go and do it. So if we had such kind of budgets, and I know some of us here have budgets for food, budgets for the house, budgets for stuff, please also spare some few coins for the budget of your professional development or your own human development. Buy books, venture into or download books. If I have ample time, I'll show you how you could download most of the books. I know some of you in this platform think I am a genius, or any book some speaker says here, hey, Stanley kona hiyo kitabu ameisoma. Some of them I just download at that time. I actually don't even know who has written them. And I can show you where to get some of those books. It's a process that I hope I will get to that today. But have a budget. Even on the free to learn, just know you are educating yourself for the purpose of improving who you are. And educating yourself is not as free as people want to call it. It is free for people who probably don't see you investing some money in it. But you are incurring a cost of you knowing that I am at this particular time, I will have data, I will have time to spare for this particular lesson. And most of them are delivered in videos. But the courses, some of which I've taken, even though it is video, it is instruction on what to do, because I have been trained on what to do by those people. I have to download software. I have to also download some books. Some courses will have those books. Some courses will have books you will need to buy or read if you want to develop yourself further, written by the same persons who is offering you the same course. And I'll mention this one statement at this particular time. If you know, what you don't use, you lose. Then it also means that what you lose, you gain even more. And I've been taught by professors, I am sure, or I am sure I may never meet them. I may never have to cross their path in any way physically. But they delivered their online, their learning to me online. And right now, whatever they delivered, I know because I got a certificate after thorough, and I'm saying this with all due humility. I don't consider certificates to be competence for learning. They are not competence for learning. They are just things that show you went through a certain process. But if you went through a certain process blindly, that's why we come out of campus and most of us are not even able to deliver some very few or simple or very basic things. And it is not the fault of only the campus. Even when you don't have interest, it is also still a fault on your side. Or it will be a fault on my side if I don't decide that I will be willing to learn. And besides learning, whatever I'll share here, because I'll share a few links for this particular process on some useful links that we may need to have this particular part here, where we have some websites like Pluralsight, Coursera, EDX, Allison, Udacity is another one that's not here by the name Udemy. I hope I will have them somewhere here. I want to share them with you so that you have these links. And I would advise some like some courses that are on Pluralsight. Those ones, most of them you will pay. Allison will offer some free courses, but the ones I have really tried and I can speak with some level of even little authority for is Coursera and EDX. They have courses where you pay for the certificate after you've done the course. That is what I was saying. It is free to learn. You learn the course, but if you want the certificate that shows that you are competent, because they have timelines for you to take exams, then you will have to take those particular exams, and you will be able or eligible for the certificate. Then you can pay. Some of them are about $50, which is about $5K. I also have seen a course on Coursera that goes to actually up to $600. That's about 60,000, roughly. It could be over because of taxation and changes for the rates for the change from dollars to Kenya shillings. And I think now that I am about to share some of these links, we'll also take a small short break as I share some of these links, and I would like us to brace ourselves for, let me look for those links and then share them with Matthew, who will post them to the group. They were on my OneNote drive. Kindly allow me, I want us to go to the last section where I think it's very important that we discuss some few things about hacking and how to secure yourself. I know most of you may not know that I could get your phone and have all your passwords just from your phone, as long as you allow me in. And that is what I want to do in this particular session. So these sites are here: Udacity, Udemy, Pluralsight, copy. Okay, here we are. Okay, Matthew, I've shared that. You could post on the group. They are a little organized. Udemy is also included in that thing that it wasn't in that in whatever I've shared that wasn't in the slides.
Okay, that's in order.
So now I want us to check something out that is I consider some killer shot. Now you are online with your children, with your friends, colleagues, partners, and it is very important that we are safe. The reason I am bringing this up is so that we can demystify. Someone has just sent me an image of how M-Pesa now you can be hacked through M-Pesa. And please note, I want to be very relevant to this particular training because most of us use M-Pesa, most of us use WhatsApp and messages. Some of us use SMS and online banking. I will touch that. And the reason this particular thing here is in red, the browser, is because it is, I consider the one that leaks all information. And I've said here, firstly, there is no such thing as an unhackable security. There is no such thing as an unhackable security. Anything that you have, it's only if you have a way of knowing something that other people don't know that you are safe. So, and there's a statement I've made down here. I'm not sure it is very, very visible. So let me erase all and probably show this to the screen. There's no such thing as unhackable security. But I've said down here, but what you know about something that others don't is considered good enough. And that's why we will look at why it is important to have security measures like passwords, or if we had time, I would have taught you about something about 2FA or something we call two-factor authentication. But in the next coming series, that will definitely be there. And I want us to look at this thing here we call the browser, or let me go back a bit. M-Pesa is there's a way you could be hacked. Now I am seeing they are sending you, and all of you know how people can be hacked. Unatumiwa message, unaambiwa ati nimekutumia pesa, yet it's not from M-Pesa. It's important to mention that to people who may not know much about technology. Right now, even the people who know how to check those messages, unatumiwa pesa, unatumiwa simu, pesa, alafu unaambiwa this is your password, and then you need to change it. So unatumiwa a certain code. That number is what now screws you up or turns you over to the hacker, because you will enter that code, and that code in some way leaks information that you need to have safeguarded. For those of us using phones that are Windows or Android, probably 9 and above, or if you use Android 10, there's SMS, there's messages for what now? There's messages for web, just like there's also WhatsApp for web. You can be hacked via these two facilities, WhatsApp web and messages web. Someone has logged on, they can read all your messages, and you need to know about that. I'll show you in the next slide when we go to the browser. But we also need to be very careful. Some of us do what we call SMS or online banking. How SMS banking works is you have a number from your bank that when you send a certain command, like if you want to withdraw money from your bank to your phone, and it will come to the M-Pesa, they give you a code. It is different for different banks. So they'll tell you when you want to do that, you will enter the first name M-Pesa, then the account number you want that money withdrawn from. Then they give you a code, a small, like supposed to work as a password, and then the amount. And immediately you send that message to that particular number, it sends you the money. That is SMS banking. And SMS banking is good, but someone could do that if you don't delete those messages, because I don't think it is good for you to keep them if your phone can leak such kind of information. Because if it can leak such kind of information, then someone who comes across your phone anaweza send the same command, ataweka M-Pesa, aweke hiyo number, your account number, because it's there, anaiona na the code, alafu ajiweke a certain amount, send it, iweke pesa kwa M-Pesa, and then they delete the particular message. So unaenda bank unashindwa kwa nini hakuna pesa, but kuna mtu alitoa pesa akajiwekea. Unless now the number unless you indemnify the number that, or you tell the bank, this is the only number that can receive money from M-Pesa from this particular account. So that is how those things work. The other thing is banking or online banking. It is also very important that you know, now that people are not going to banks, online banking is becoming something very ubiquitous. It is with people all the time, everywhere, or most people. And there's actually another online bank that is called Loop right now in Kenya, that you don't need to ever go to the bank. They do all the transactions for you, as long as you also give them your particular details. And I want to mention, when you're doing online banking, at least banks have tried to safeguard you from hackers by sending you something we call an OTP, or an online or one-time password that expires after, probably depending on the institution or the bank you're dealing with or the financial institution, it expires after probably 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 15, half an hour if you don't use it. And that is also a security measure. However, online banking can also be done via email. Some people have indemnified emails that they can instruct their banks on what the bank needs to do to effect a certain transaction. And if someone hacks that kind of information, then they can go there and instruct the bank to send them money, even without your knowledge. And that is why we are now here on this, probably the last slide, the second last slide, that shows us how we can be hacked and the information about us can be stolen. And this is, for this thing, as I wind up, I want to ask you for a small activity. If you are using, either you are using your phone or you are using your computer, open a browser. Open any browser, but I'm more conversant with Edge and Chrome. But they will show you how. I want to show you how your information can leak and what you can do about it. Especially when you're sharing some very sensitive information like KRA details, your banking details, like an email you've indemnified with your bank, or a number that you also have indemnified with your a phone number that you've indemnified with your bank, that from this number, only instructions coming from this particular number can be effected to this particular account. That's what we call indemnity of that particular number. So open your browser, and if you are on Chrome, to the top right, you will see three dots. 3 dots just before the close button. If you click on those 3 dots and go to settings, and if you're using your phone, I want us to go both at the same, both those of us who are using the phones and the machines to be at par. If you're using your phone, also open your browser, probably Google Chrome or Chrome on your phones, and click on the 3 dots, then go to settings. And you will see somewhere written passwords. Tap on passwords. And if you are using on a browser, also tap on passwords. And please notify me. Are we together? I'm hoping we are. Are we there?
Yes, we are together.
Oh, okay, good. So you can see for my phone shows I have logged on to very many websites, and you will see, it will show you if you are using a browser. I don't know whether to pull this down and bring mine up. Okay, let me do this so that let me pull the slide down so that we can, all of us, see. Let me share this. Yeah, so every one of you is seeing what we have on the screen. Oh my goodness, it is so dark though.
Yes, but we can see.
Okay, let me expand it a little. It's too large. So here you can see all the passwords. If you go to the 3 dots, then go to settings, you can see all of these are websites I have logged in. If you see this particular part here, let me use the annotation. If you check this here, it will show you this particular, we have passwords, the website I have logged in, the username I used, and the password. And there are some small eyes over here, over this particular side. There are like small things that appear like eyes. If you can see that, I'm hoping you are seeing that.
Yes.
If you tap on those eyes and your phone or computer wasn't locked, it will show you that password. But for me, if you are seeing this, it is showing you now that I need to enter my password. And if I entered my password here, only this one time, as long as this machine is on from now or henceforth, I should be able to see the password, this particular password that is shown here, this one. Sorry. If I tap on this and enter my machine's password here, I'm able to see this here. Let me see this site so that I know whether, I can do this. So let me enter this. And if you are watching now, you can see I have revealed my particular credentials for this particular website. 111, the credentials are this, the username, and this is the password. If you can see that. Are we clear?
Yeah.
So if you go down now that I have entered the password once, the same thing with phones. If you are using your phone and it has a fingerprint that is installed on your phone, it will request, or you have a password or pattern, it will request for you to enter that pattern. And once you do, it will reveal this particular code. Now that I have entered once, it can reveal all these other websites that I have logged in. The reason this appears here is because when you are logging in to any website and it asks you whether you want to save your details and you say yes, don't think that you will be having an easy time for nothing. Every time you are logging into that website na inaenda kama imeingia, it is because the website remembers that detail. And the hacker, that is what they steal. So behind the scenes, they install stuff we call scripts. I wish I had more time to share some of these things. There are types of hacks. There's a rootkit, there's URL hijacking, where you enter a URL and it takes you to another website. There's SQL injection, where someone hacks your database and it puts figures. Kama mimi sasa if I had the know-how, niingie kwa server za M-Pesa, hack them, and nijiweke niko na 2 million ya withdraw pole pole. That's what we call SQL injections. But there are also security measures towards that. But I wanted to bring this to your light and show you that once you save a password, or you click on save for the browser to remember, a browser is not one of the safest things to always keep your passwords on. Put them in your head so that every time the browser asks for your information. Now, I have put this here because I know these are credentials that you may not want. But let's go further down. If I opened this Amazon website you are seeing down here, I'm hoping it is there, this one. If you see this Amazon and I revealed it, you could log in with my details and probably even shop. If I logged on to my Apple ID, you could log into Apple, and if I have money on my Apple ID, you can download apps or buy songs or buy music if I clicked on this. And that is how you could be hacked. I'm just showing you this for the sake of you guys to know some of those things. How do you now then make sure that you are logging in, the browser does not store your information? Because this information can be stored. Like this first one here you're seeing, I don't have an account like this anywhere. I don't have an account like this anywhere. This is something that just logged itself on. This means that I could have logged onto a website that has something we call a script. And that script embedded itself on my machine. So it installed some sort of malware in the back end that now I am logged on to this particular site. So how do you safeguard yourself from these sort of malware? Now you can close that settings button. I will close it and it shows my WhatsApp, whatever. But on the same 3 dots, you can click on the same 3 dots and select this here we are calling the new incognito window. And that's what I wanted us to discuss as the last thing. The new incognito window. If you open the new incognito window, that does not keep your details. It does not store any detail of whatever you do. So now we are covering from this particular side. I need to be here. So now we are covering what you do, what you need to do, or I've shown you, or in my previous slide, I have covered what can be stolen. I've showed you that most browsers, even Edge, but Edge, you have to have a person's machine for you to steal the information. For Google Chrome, even their phone could leak a lot of information. So at this point, where is this lighter? Laser. So you have this particular part here. Most browsers can leak your information. We've covered that. We've checked that. How browsers leak your information, we've also done that. And this is how they leak your information if you are a POI or person of interest to a hacker. Because if you are a CEO, a hacker will be probably someone who is a person of interest, or if you are a CFO, chief financial officer, or if you are a CTO who holds some sensitive passwords, you could be a person of interest to a hacker. So we are also now here where we need to cover what we need to do when, so that we can safeguard ourselves. One is to have passwords, or a password that is affected is good enough. If you have a password, unlike a phone where you just go in and you are aware of everything, or you can just see everything, you are, at least you have the first line of defense, what we call, they are important first line of defense. Things that you should never do is to share them, and always use what we call private window. Probably in Google Chrome they call them incognito window. In Edge, I think they call them private, as well as Mozilla Firefox. The different browsers will have that. So, and especially if you are using a machine that is not yours. If you're using a machine like probably in a cyber, this is information most people leave behind. And then they do some very sensitive transactions on the machine, and they leave all their details there, and they are hacked, and they think that or they don't realize that they are the ones who unwillingly and incognizantly gave the information out. And so to end our presentation today, I am welcoming your question and answers, and sorry for taking so much of your time. But today we are done for the day. Now we can meet some other time for another serious forum.